everyone, and welcome to ConTinual. We're going to talk about beach reads tonight, and I have a fabulous group of folks to talk about what we should be reading on vacation this summer. And I'm Jeanne Adams. I'm your moderator for this wonderful panel, and I'm going to go around and have everybody introduce themselves. How about we start with you, Chris?
Hi there, I'm Chris A. Jackson. I am a writer of science fiction fantasy, sometimes horror, a little bit of everything. I've got about 30 novels under my belt. Read a lot of tie-in fiction for gaming companies and other IPs, so that's my gig.
Excellent. Nicole?
I'm Nicole Givens Kurtz. I'm the owner of Mocha Memoirs Press. We are a small press out of South Carolina whose mission is to amplify marginalized voices in speculative fiction. I am also a science fiction, fantasy, and horror author in my own right. I have like 4 science fiction mysteries / fantasy mystery
And
series.
they're great.
As well as I write weird westerns too.
Most excellent. Hal?
Hal Bodner. I am known as a horror writer. I never thought of myself as a horror writer. I always thought I wrote thrillers and capers. Multiple Bram Stoker nominee. And about 100 years ago, I was one of the top male homosexual fiction writers in the country. I just happened to have a copy here. How did that happen? With Bike Club when that came out. So now I write mostly mystery and thrillers.
Cool. Hank?
I'm Hank Edwards, and I write gay romance in a variety of subgenres like paranormal and thriller and contemporary. I get bored, so I write whatever's in my head. So yeah, I've been writing for like 20 years. I have about 40 books out there, and just keep trying.
Most excellent.
Thanks.
And last but never least, Nancy?
Hey, I'm Nancy Naigle, and I write small town love stories and women's fiction.
Which are also awesome.
Thank you.
So our topic tonight is Toes in the Sand Beach Reads. What do you take on vacation? What is the first book you remember reading when you went to vacation, beach, summer camp? Nicole, what was your first vacation read? Do you remember?
I do. It was not different. It was a different seasons. The Stephen King collection of short stories.
Great reading.
And it was wonderful because it was a Christian like summer camp.
Oh, even better.
There you go.
Yeah, it was like there was the thick volume of it. There's the Bible, and then there's different seasons.
There's just some counselor out there going, "Oh my God, I got to get holy water right away."
So at night, I'm like reading it. The Bible is propped up, but inside is different seasons.
Yeah.
Pages are on fire.
You were dedicated.
I was.
I used to do that in Sunday school.
See.
Hey, what about you?
One of the first ones, well, not one of the first ones, but one of my favorite ones was we went on vacation to Provincetown. And we went for a while. Yeah, it was beautiful. And we went walking through one of the bookstores there, and I found this mystery series, and the first book was Death Wore a Smart Little Outfit. And I just like sat and just read it under the umbrella, and it was about a transvestite that solves a murder mystery, and it was really sassy and fun. And I went back and bought that into the next 2 books, and I read them all that whole week. And I actually just found them on Kindle, so I just bought them recently. I was like, "Oh my God, they're back in print!" So it was really
that's
fun.
great.
Yeah. So
a sassy little outfit. I like that.
Yeah, Death Wore a Smart Little Outfit. That's what it was.
Do you remember the author?
I have to look. You know what? I have to look that up because
you look it up, and I'll start. And Nancy, what about you?
I grew up on the beach, so my first beach reads would have probably been Nancy Drew. Because I was on the beach from the time I was a kid. We would be going over that sand dune to get to Virginia Beach or over on the Chesapeake Bay side. So mine would have been kid books.
Oh yeah. Hal, what about you?
I never read on the beach. I know, that's scandalous. I didn't. I was younger, prettier, much too busy looking at other things. I write sometimes the kind of stuff that you read on a beach. I call them toilet reads. Meaning you read them on the John. My publisher gets very angry at me and says, you can't call them toilet reads. There's summer beach reads. And my answer is, okay, there's summer beach reads that you read on the toilet. But no, I never read on the beach. Everybody says good book, and I'm like, no, not when he's walking by.
Well,
fat married.
Yeah,
That's how you know when to flip, right?
Flip has an entirely different connotation in my community.
Oh.
So
well,
bad.
I was a book nerd, but you're always doing this over the edge of the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just walking by.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Chris?
One of the most enjoyable beach reads I did was actually on my honeymoon with my wife in Jamaica. And I like to read my old favorites. So I brought a trilogy by Elizabeth Moon that I'd read before.
Oh, I love that.
And the thing is, you don't really have to concentrate when you know the book, which is good because it was closing optional beach. And I was distracted a lot. You know, new wife, everything like that. So my eyeballs got strained a lot from like swiveling without turning my head.
Every beach I've ever been on, as far as I'm concerned, is a clothing. Never mind. I'm saying, Jeanne, you did not know that it was going to be this bad, did you, Jeanne?
No, it just makes it more entertaining for me and for everybody else.
Right.
So when you think about beach reads, what are you recommending to people to take on vacation? If your best friend calls you up and says, hey, I'm going to the beach for a week. And in my case, it would be, I'm going to the beach for a week. The boys will be at the beach. I will be in the beach house because I'm a burn and peel girl. What should I be reading for the week that I'm at the beach? Now, in earlier years, I would have taken 2 bags of books. Now I take 2 or 3 actual paper books and my Kindle. So, Nicole, what am I reading?
Something mysterious and something that's going to give you chills because it's so hot. I like to read thrillers, and it's the juxtaposition between bright sunny and blue sky and something creepy and suspenseful and possibly horrible on the page. And so those things, just the juxtaposition, like knowing that, oh, there's a body and a corpse, but there's like kids laughing and water splashing, for some reason that's really entertaining to me. And so yeah, I'm recommending mystery suspense thriller.
All right, any particular ones?
Oh, of course. Anything by Robert B. Parker, right? Of course, he's dead, but don't read the new stuff. Definitely read stuff that he actually wrote. Anything by Sue Grafton, anything by me.
Sue Grafton, I love Sue Grafton. That series was so great. It's such a tragedy she couldn't finish it.
Right?
Okay.
I know.
That's a
I know.
whole.
I love
like
that. I know. That's a whole
Jeanne.
different panel, right?
The
I know.
anger
Up to like
over-
why, didn't she?
She stopped at why.
Yeah, she passed away before she got to Z. So yeah.
You know, that's just God being a real douche.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend like Walter Mosley as well.
Mm.
Only because the breadth of what he has to offer is just so varied that you just can't get bored with one single genre from him.
Yeah. And I would also recommend both Bobby Nash and Greg Phillips. I met them on another panel.
Gary Phillips?
Gary Phillips.
That's the cartoonist, isn't it?
No.
No.
He was on our panel. I think his name is, it may be Gary. Yeah. He's a thriller writer.
Yes.
And Bobby Nash, his noir books are great for the beach. Yeah.
Oh, those are perfect as well. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Hal, I've got my book bag and my Kindle. What do I need to fill it with?
I got to. I would not. If you're a guy on the beach, depending on the beach, you do not want to read paranormal erotic romance unless you want company. But I got to tell you, I like mindless stuff on the beach.
Yeah.
And I like dichotomous stuff on the beach. So right now, I'm probably going to read, if I were there, something like Deanna Rayburn.
Oh, yeah.
I just love her stuff. It's just so much delightfully fun. Or I'm going to read
so much rich detail in her books. So much rich
I
detail.
like her too. I love the fact that she's written a very strong female sleuth character, and then she's written a himbo, a male bimbo. And I just love that. Or I'm going to read, this is going to sound really weird. It's California Noir. I love that Southern California noir because it has a sultry quality to it, and I think it's great. And if I don't read that, I'm going to go back and read like the old Charlie and Peter series, the old gay Charlie and Peter series, which is just like mindless fluff.
Yeah, that's cool. And, you know, sometimes you want to reread at the beach because you, like you said, Chris, you kind of want something that you can enjoy and turn your brain on for that, but you can also kind of like set it down if you want to go play noir. So. All right, but I'm going to ask the same question of you, Chris. If I've got my beach bag and my Kindle, what are you going to recommend for me to read if I'm going to the beach for a week?
Yeah, so like I said, I like to read my old favorites because I know the storyline already and I don't have to really super concentrate instead of reading fluff, but fluff is okay. So I'm going to bring like the big doorstop Jacqueline Carey books, the Crucial series.
Yeah.
You know,
those are great.
Or trilogies that I just love. Those are a little steamy. So, you know, like I said, if you're on a clothing optional beach, it's going to be obvious what you're reading. Lay on your stomach and read these books. And, yeah, stuff that I've read before, I like, you know, it's ridiculous. I'll read the same 6 or 8 books every year, at least once. And then, you know, new stuff as well. Anything by Andy Weir because he's a freaking genius.
Yeah.
But that's kind of heady stuff too, so you have to really kind of pay attention. But I've read The Martian half a dozen times, so.
I just recently, if you liked Andy Weir's The Martian, you might like Laura Lamb's Goldilocks.
Oh yeah.
She's
because
really,
bears and spaceships, they kind of.
Why not? But I don't actually know why she called it Goldilocks. But it is a space adventure, and it is, wow, it is good. It is really good.
I have to write that
down. Nancy, same question for you. What are you going to suggest I read for a week at the beach?
It's going to be totally different from everybody else.
Absolutely, that's what's so fun about it.
But you know, this year, for beach books, the Laying on the Beach, you know, Debbie Maycomber has a new one, Sheila Roberts has a new one, Ariane Thane has a new one, Denise Hunter's Bookshop by the Sea, Brenda Novak, everybody's got a new beach book, me, you know. So I would definitely have all those on my Kindle for sure. And then for my backup spare books, I love Carl Hyacin. I think he's so fun, and he writes the best characters. You know, you just never forget them. He has so many crazy details. You know, the one like the guy who had the weed whacker put on his arm. It was just weird stuff like that. The guy who gets killed in the chipper, fun stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're talking to me, if it's a wood chipper involved, I'm in. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you just can't forget that stuff, you know, but it's still got that lighthearted edge to it. So yeah, I'm always looking for something happy and a little romantic if I can get it, you know.
I'm absolutely dying for Ceresia Glass's new one. It's called The Love Con, and it's set at a convention, and it's all about cosplay, and it looks absolutely fabulous.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that. Yeah.
And Farrah Roshan's The Boyfriend Project is wonderful too.
Yes, definitely.
All right, Hank, I got my Kindle. What's on your beach read list? If you're going to send me to the beach for a week, what am I reading?
So first thing is Death Wore a Smart Little Outfit is by Orland Outland.
Okay.
So just wanted to put that out there.
What a name. What a name.
Yeah, I know, right? Orland Outland.
Do you reckon? Don't you reckon that's a pseudonym?
No, stop.
Surely not.
No. And you know, when I go to the beach, I like a good like mystery thriller. So Sue Grafton was a great suggestion, but also I love the John Sanford Prey series. He's got like
that's intense.
It is intense, but it's like it's a nice, right? Because you're on the beach and like Nicole was saying, you know, it's like, oh, children laughing and playing, you know, and then there's all this intensity. So it's kind of nice to be able to like, look away. Yeah, exactly. Look away and not be so endorsed in it. But they're great mysteries. I love them. And I've been reading them every year. You know, he comes out with a new one every year, and he's got all these branched off series from it, you know, and stuff like that, as they're wont to do, right? When you find a seller. But yeah, the original series, the Davenport series, is really good. So I like that a lot. Yeah, I think that, or Stephen King is just, I really like his writing and his and his novel 11/20/263. About a time traveler who goes back to stop JFK's
The case
assassination.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my
Ooh.
God, I love that book. I mean, The Stand was awesome, but that really just sucked me in, and that's
That's
like
a
my
big
second
one,
favorite
yeah.
of his. Yeah,
I
it's a
thought I
big
had
one.
read
So,
everything of his. I've not read that.
oh, it's
See,
really
it's good.
It's so deep and characters and
Yeah.
heartbreaking, and it's like, wow,
It
it's
is. It
really
really
rich. It's
is.
very
Okay,
rich.
I'll
Yeah.
have to skip that heartbreaking part.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed that nobody mentioned Christopher Marlowe, William Shakespeare, light read.
Light stuff, yeah.
I definitely like Joe Hill's. Is it The Fireman? The Firefighter?
Yeah, fireman, yeah.
The Fireman.
Yeah.
I did like that. And I did like their collaboration in The Tall Grass. But
Mm,
again,
yeah.
I am also a fangirl, so
hmm
of horror.
Now, see, I like to get a good series going when I'm at the beach, because
Yeah.
then, you've got the option if you like the first book.
Yeah.
And I just picked up Alex Cava's Breaking Creed. That's a series with a canine investigator in it. And it's gritty and it's good. And I really, really liked it. And if you're at the beach and it's hot and you want to read something that will take you to a cooler place, Stephanie
Well,
Bergen,
Nicole's reading The Stand, not The Stand, The Shining. We know that.
yes. There's a fabulous series that starts with a book called Snow Spelled. And it is one of those books that was written during the beginning of the pandemic. And the author basically said, screw it, I'm throwing everything but the kitchen sink in here because I don't care. And I need something to cheer me up. So it's set in Edwardian England, except it's an alternative Edwardian England where the men are the magicians because, they're so emotional. And the women are the politicians because they're not. And it's all topsy-turvy, and there's all this great stuff in it. Fabulous series of books, and it's all set in the winter, so it's very chilly and cold. So.
I think if you're going to do a beach read, I mean, getting serious for a moment as I can be once in a while, I think it needs to be kind of, I don't think you want to think too hard
Right.
on a beach. So I think stuff like Agatha Christie is really great because you don't really have to think too hard, or like if you're in mysteries, or like the Rex Stout books, because the mystery doesn't matter, it's the characters, or tie-in novels.
Yeah, because the world is familiar.
If you're familiar with a world and you're just writing, reading another piece in it, that's like RPG tie-in novels, or the whole Forgotten Realms series, and
well, I was thinking when I was a kid, I was 14 or 15. We moved to Puerto Rico for about 3 months. My mother was dating a gambler. Long story, but I do remember that I had nothing to read, and he was a Star Trek fan, and I had never seen Star Trek, and they had those little short where there were like 3 episodes in a book. So I think that I read those when I was down there. I mean,
yeah, those were kind of not just tie-in; those were novelizations of
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah. But Hal's right. You sort of want something that takes you out of the world.
Mhm.
Now, some people really prefer taking a research book to the beach, or a nonfiction book to the beach.
You don't want to go to the
Nancy
beach with
shake her
those
head
people.
no.
those people are called crazy. Those people are
Yeah.
called crazy. Yes.
So,
Do
I'm
not
going
go
to the beach
with
to
those people.
escape.
yes. So, what's your favorite?
Unless it's something like that takes you to a whole nother realm that's real but theoretical, like Brief History of Time, some Stephen Hawking or something like that.
Well, I was actually thinking about there's a book called The Raven Master, which is about the yeoman who takes care of all the ravens in the Tower of London.
I think that's it. I think biographies and not autobiographies, but biographies are great for the beach.
Yeah.
Especially if they're about somebody who's you're kind of interested in, but you don't really care about, like Tulu the Bankhead, or something like that. I also think
interesting than me. That's great.
I also think you can take. I do think actually, it's serious. There's some nonfiction. Like, I don't know why I have this weird fascination with because I'm a historian, by education. I have my doctorate in it. History of food preservation and food techniques and various cookery, not recipes, but the history. I used to read that by the pool, that type of stuff by the pool all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
It's always fascinating to see what people will take. Somebody was actually mentioning the Raven Master in another panel I was on, and I the one odd beach read that I took one year that everybody gave me the double take was I was reading the Invention of Death by Judith Flanders, and it has a big black skull on it, and it's about how the Victorians invented crime detection, and it's a fascinating book, but it's a doorstopper, and it's not exactly what you expect at the beach. So. Hank, if you had to recommend a book that you're looking forward to, maybe you've not read it yet, but you're looking forward to, what's one upcoming that you're looking forward to that you might take to the beach with you?
Oh man. So we have a lot of in the genre I write in, we have a lot of subgenres in gay romance. We have a lot of subgenres, and there's an author who is very prolific. Gregory Ash, and he's got these very dark and moody and intense mysteries that he's releasing. Yeah, and so he's kind of building on his series a little bit at a time, and he has like now he's doing seasons to his series. So he's got like 5 books and like season 1 of one character, like one couple, and then another season. So he's starting to release. He's coming up on a 3rd season for an established couple. So that would be something that I would be really interested in. And he releases them like he'll write, spend a year writing them, and then release them like every 4 weeks. And I'm just like, how? You know? Yeah. How? So, but yeah, that is something that I would be looking forward to, just to sit and be able to focus and read all of that at once, right? To really get that flow through. So
yeah, absolutely. What about you, Nancy?
I grabbed a copy of Evie Drake Starts Over, and I can't remember who it's by. I'd never read the author before, but in one of the reviews it said, if you liked Evie Drake Starts Over, then you'll like Nancy Naigle's The Shell Collector. And I thought, well, I need to read that. So I've read like the first chapter of it, and then I had edits come in. So I'm anxious to read it. And so far it's been really entertaining. So yeah.
So you're looking forward to going back to it?
Yeah, I am.
And what was,
I thought when she said
Evie Drake Starts Over.
Evie Drake, okay.
Yeah, Evie, Evie.
I thought, Nancy, that when you said you got 1 chapter in and then you had edits, I thought you were gonna send edits back. You should have really said.
I thought that too.
I was like,
I thought that too. I was like, that must have been a terrible book. Nancy had to edit it.
Nicole and I do that with Stephen King all the time.
That's funny. No. It was very
so for those for those watching, that's by Linda Holmes. So
thank you. Yes, Linda Holmes. Yeah, and it was beautifully written. It didn't need any edits. I had edits on one of my bodies of work. One of my 2022 releases.
That's actually an interesting thing. If I can pick up a book and get like a couple of chapters, 3 chapters in, and it's immersive enough and well written enough and well edited enough that I don't start editing, I'm in.
Yeah,
exactly. No, I agree.
If I pick up, you want to ruin your reading career, be a writer.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So often I pick up a book and I'm 3 chapters in, and it's like,
who is the editor?
Not that it's bad, it's just that that's not the way I would phrase things. It's like, really, you're going to say that again?
And again.
And again, repetition is a huge problem. But and that's why I like Andy Weir. He's so immersive, and it's so clean, and it's so intelligent. Well, I think it is. But once again, everybody's got something.
I'm actually rather partial to Chuck Tingle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's hysterical. He is absolutely hysterical.
He is. Nobody knows who he is. Obviously, I mean, he's the secret. Do you all know who Chuck Tingle?
Yeah.
Nancy, you should look it up, because he is an equal opportunity offender.
Yes.
He's probably, it's easy to dismiss him. He is probably the most brilliant satirist of the early 21st century. I mean, he's brilliant, off the wall, completely irreverent, silly as all hell. Yeah. But I think a group of people tried to get him nominated for a Hugo with what was it, Space Raptor Butt Pirates?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it's real trashy, stupid stuff with the titles like my dinosaur CEO made me gay would be like the name of the book, but actually they're very, very clever. They're not, the titles don't do them justice.
Hal has actually hit on it. He's a brilliant satirist, and
Mhm.
the titles are camouflage.
Yeah.
It's the
No,
only
they
way
are.
to put it. But go look him up, Nancy, because you'll
I definitely
appreciate
will.
Even better, go to YouTube and get some of the people who have done staged readings of him.
Yeah.
And
Oh, okay.
you will wet yourself.
Yeah, but don't get on his bad side.
Yes. Yeah.
He'll
Don't do
take you
that.
out, man.
This next book will be about you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no.
You don't want that to happen.
No, you
No, I
No,
don't.
no. All right, Chris.
Need to be a Chuck Tingle character.
Yeah. Well, that would be a life ambition. Chris, what about you? What's on your to be read pile that you're looking forward to?
Well, I just bought some books by a friend of mine. The Billy the Kid novels by
Tamsin.
Silver. Yeah.
Tamsin. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I know those will be fantastic, and
They are.
I actually bought paper copies, so I'm not reading on electrics anymore for entertainment purposes. I find that it's really difficult to read. I mean, I do read on a Kindle, but after being on the computer writing for 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours a day,
I want a book.
what I want to do is read more print electronically.
Yep.
So
Yep.
picking up a book, and my eyes get worse every year, so larger print books, larger format books are nice.
Yeah.
So that's my next project. It's on my shelf, so
Yay.
very happy.
What about you, Nicole?
So I'm looking forward to Milton Davis writes Sword
Wonderful.
and Soul. If you think about
Yeah.
Charles Sanders, I'm waiting for Edna Blessed too, which is like a series of stories starring Edna Blessed. So I'm waiting for that. Basically anything Milton puts out this summer, I'm eagerly waiting to read. So I'm also looking forward to reading Odd Scholars by B. Sharice Moore as well. So there's a couple of things from Milton Davis's MV Media that I'm like reading or looking forward to reading this summer.
If y'all should follow both Nicole and Milton on Facebook, because they give recommendations all the time.
Yes.
So Hal, what about you? What's on your to be read pile that you're looking forward to?
God. I tend to read, to be honest with you, I tend to read a lot of, I read some new stuff, obviously, because you have to, I think, if you're working in the industry, I think you have to read what's out and keep going. But that's more work reading. For pleasure reading, I got to tell you, I go back, I'm reading Seabury Quinn right now, who's one of the old pulp writers from the 1930s and 40s. And he has this bizarre, silly little paranormal detective, and they're all the same. They're all the stories are the same. In one, it's a cat god. In another, it's a voodoo thing. In another one, it's witches or werewolf, and they're all the same. And I just love it. So, and I like, I read, I'm looking forward to that sort of stuff. I also, this is so weird. Again, I'm looking forward. It's so cool because I got it it's like $85 new. Ooh. And I got it for like $19 on one of these. It was a scholarly book put out by University Press on gladiator excavations. That's how weird I am. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Hey, you know what? If it floats your boat, it floats your boat.
Yeah, it's a history. It's a Roman history of gladiators in the 2nd century. And I'm like, oh wow, can't wait to read it. And my husband's like, what? I married you?
Well, yeah, my husband gets that eye rolling thing, especially when it's like the Judith Flanders book, The Invention of Murder, some book about forensics. He's like, oh my God.
Do you know who's a great summer beach read? I'll tell you. You know who's wonderful? Nagayo Marsh is fabulous. I think that you may know the Joseph Brandstetter books. Joseph Hansen.
Oh, yeah.
David Brandstetter books. And I think to the lesser extent Rex Stout, because again, I don't think the mysteries matter. So I don't think you have to, I mean, it's kind of hard to concentrate when I live in Southern California, when it's 120 degrees and humid, you know? But I think that you can read those and really enjoy them, and you don't bother figuring out the mystery because it's about the characters.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm not
I
at the
do-
beach when it's 120 degrees. I'm sorry. That's a
Where are
no.
you?
Not happening.
That's not
I'm
right.
in North
That's not
Carolina,
right.
but I
No.
don't like, I'm not going to the beach when it's that hot.
Mm-mm.
That's a no.
So let me throw something out. You talk about not concentrating. How about audiobooks?
Mm.
Oh, so many good ones.
And you know, you can close your eyes and enjoy those. And it's
Oh, yeah.
right.
I can't absorb audio, and I can't absorb Kindle. Go figure.
I totally enjoy a good audiobook, and anything narrated by Ray Porter is excellent. He is one of the top narrators out there, and
We
really
listened to, on the way to the beach, not too long, a couple years ago, we listened to Devil in the White City, and the narrator was brilliant.
Mhm.
The book was great to begin with, but the
That's the
narrator
one
was
about
brilliant.
H.H. Holmes, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And the
Okay.
Chicago World's Fair.
So,
It's set
yes,
against
yes,
the
yes, yes.
backdrop
I
of the
grew up
Chicago
there.
World's Fair.
Yes, yes.
And so
Okay.
I then went and read a bunch of his books, Larson's
Mhm.
books, because they're really good.
Yeah.
And on my to be read list is The Gilded Ones. That's Namina Forma's new book. And I picked that one up because the cover is absolutely stunningly gorgeous. And when I read it, I was like, read the flyleaf. I was like, okay, all right, cool. I might buy it for the cover alone, but
If you don't read it, you can just frame it.
I know it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I wish I had the book
I'm a
right here. It's
sucker
on the-
for a really good cover. Yeah.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too.
Yeah, totally. So just feel free to chime in. What are some good books? I mean, obviously, as you say, Hal, sometimes it's the familiar read that you want because you don't have to think too much. Sometimes it is the Agatha Christie. For me, that would be, you know, sometimes it's the series that you've read 15 times. Mercedes Lackey and James Mallory's Outstretched Shadow. I've probably read that 15 times.
But you know, her paranormal investigator series is a nice summer beach read.
It is, and I wish she'd do more of them.
She's only done like 4, right? 3 or 4.
Only done like 4. Yeah. I wish
Yeah.
she'd do more of them, but she's so busy with Valdemar that she hasn't done any more of that. That's,
You know-
somebody was mentioning Patricia Briggs and
Yes.
another one of the panels.
Yep.
And her Mercy Thompson series is great, but I actually like her other books. And she has like 6 or 8 other books before she wrote Mercy Thompson, and they're really good. So what are some others? Yeah, chime in. Nicole, you got
I
I do. Go ahead, Hank.
No, go ahead, Nicole. You go first.
I was just thinking of Justina Ireland's Dread Nation series. Has anyone ever heard of that? It's where it's set during it's an alternate like Reconstruction period where slaves are basically trained to hunt zombies. It's like Dread Nation, and then there's like a second book, which it's very. I listened to it on audiobook on Audible, and they were really brilliant stories, really rich, very different types of lots of agency use. It just was really great. And I listened to it on the flight to Dublin and from here to Dublin. But I say that Justina Ireland used to be the editor over at FIA magazine. So really good stuff. They're not very long because they're for young adults, but it's just a very entertaining, fun read.
Yeah, speaking of young adult, I just finished one by T. Kingfisher. That's The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, which is absolutely charming.
I
and
would buy that
delightful.
on the title alone.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I bought it. That's exactly why I bought it. I had read her book, Paladin's Grace, and I was scrolling through to see what else, because it's Ursula Vernon. She writes as Ursula Vernon. She writes middle grade books. And these are her more adult titles. And if you like a horror, the twisted ones will make you sweat. But The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking is outstanding. So what were you going to say? It was Hank or Chris? Which one? Go ahead.
Hank.
Oh, I was going to mention like way back in the day, because in the 70s,
In the way back.
like those series like Sidney Sheldon books.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh
Wonderful.
my God, yes, those
And
were
Lawrence Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
And then there was,
McNallys, I own those in hard copy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And do you know who else is wonderful? From that era, a guy by the name of Gerald Brown. Remember him?
Yes.
Wow, I
Yes.
don't know if I know him. Gerald Brown.
He wrote
okay.
He wrote Green Ice and 11 Harrow House.
Ooh.
Now I will warn you, they don't hold up as well as when you initially read them.
Yeah.
I actually just got his one about pearls, which is I was so sad because I was at the last book of somebody's opus, and I think he's dead now. And I just read that one, and yeah, they're a little dated in terms of the language and the whole male-female dynamic, but the actual story itself is a freaking hoot.
Well, there's a writer, you were talking about going into the Wayback Machine, Hal. There's a writer named Mary Roberts Reinhardt.
Yes.
And I got very interested in her because the publishing house she founded as a woman in the early 1900s, like the 1910s, still exists. And she wrote stories. She was one of the most prolific writers of the early 20th century. So I thought, what is this? And I went on a kick and started reading a bunch of her stuff. Incredibly problematic in terms of today's society.
Mm-hmm.
But as Hal says, the stories are very interesting and very clever. They're mostly murder mysteries. But
I started trying, I actually, it's funny you mentioned Mary Roberts Reinhardt. I was looking for a new person to read because I just finished Gerald Brown and Rex Stout and a couple of others. And I said, oh, and I was thinking Mary Roberts Reinhardt, couldn't remember her name. And I ended up getting everything P.D. James had ever written, which is only like 12 books. They're not easy.
No. Yeah, those are thick.
Yeah, they're not easy reads. You know,
I wouldn't take them to the beach.
No.
Yeah, no. So one of the series that I picked up that has to be one of the most readable series, effortless reading, is the Joe Aronovich Rivers of London series. The
Yes.
books.
Yes.
So
Ben Aronovich.
I'm sorry, Ben. I'm terrible with names. Yeah, Ben Aronovich, and absolutely wonderful. But like I said, effortless reading. That was a book, the first one of those, I was like halfway through and realized I hadn't self-edited it once.
Yeah.
When I can do that, it was wonderful.
Somebody had recommended that one to me, and I was standing in Waterstones in London.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh, there's that book that's been recommended to me. And I picked it up and I started reading, and 35 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I should probably buy this.
Probably board my train that left 15 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
Ignore the covers; they're horrific, but the writing is just sensational. They've been knocking around the idea of making that like a mini series, and I really wish they would.
I wish they would too. Nancy, what about you? What are some that you're just kicking, you would kick around to take with you to the beach, or leave at the beach house for somebody else to read, or?
Oh gosh, it's funny that you mentioned like the Sidney Sheldon stuff and Danielle Steele, all that stuff from the old, those you can't ever get rid
Cynthia
of.
Freeman too. Those were some great books.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Those are the kind that you would find at the beach house that everybody's read.
Yes, and they're tattered and they got
sand in them.
And Odd Thomas
and drink stains.
Yeah.
For some reason,
drink stains.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Dean Koontz Odd Thomas books, every guest house has one.
Yeah, those are
right.
Those
in
are
every
very
little
good.
free library.
I don't know that anyone's ever read them, but they're always there.
Oh, I
Well,
love them.
that's because somebody starts it and goes, no, it's too much. It's too much.
Maybe that's true. Yeah.
And put it in. I actually was in Iceland, and in the lobby of the hotel, they had a little free library, and there was like 12 Dean Koontzes.
Yeah, there are always a lot of them in there. And I'm always like, ooh.
The Odd Thomas books are pretty
Iceland,
good.
England, Ireland. Is your name Trixie Fly Me? I mean, you're all over the place.
Well, I had one of those come to Jesus moments a couple of years ago of life short, play hard. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
there were some places I wanted to go if anything was going to happen to me. And I
Gotta
thought,
do it.
better go. Yeah. So Nicole, what you reading before you go to bed tonight?
I am actually reading Stuart Jaffe's the first one in his Southern Charm.
Oh, cool.
I'm actually rereading it, so I would need to get back into Max Porter, and so I was like, I'm just going to start over. So I got this one a few years ago from Stuart, so I'm starting over again.
I'm actually doing that with David Coe's Thief Taker series.
Oh yeah,
I liked it so much, and I bought the I think it was third or fourth book from him, and I hadn't. It got stuck behind a shelf kind of thing. So I've gone back to the first one so I can remember everything before I read it.
Yeah.
Nancy, what are you reading tonight before you go to bed? Oh, you muted. There
Sorry,
you go.
I did it the opposite. I will probably pull out the Evie Drake book and read a chapter.
There you go.
Maybe I get a little further this time. Now that I got
Talk
the
about a
other
committed fan.
There you go.
a new fan. That's right.
That's right. Hal, what about you? What you pulling out for you to?
I'm in the middle of finishing off Seabury Quinn's entire work. There's a 5-volume set that I managed to get hold of, and there's also a book. It's called The Library Book. It's written by Susan. I can't remember her last name, but it's I think, because I haven't read it yet, it's a semi-fictional account of the Los Angeles library fire, where the library burned down.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a mystery kind of thing, so I'll probably start that tonight.
Susan Orlean.
Orlean, yes. Yeah.
All right, cool. What about you, Hank?
I have been listening to an audiobook from way back, Robert R. McCammon, and his book Swan Song, his apocalyptic answer to Stephen King's The Stand. I was just thinking about that. It's very much like, I was like, I remember reading that. That was like his first book, and then I devoured all the other ones that he wrote after that. But I saw that was in audio, and I was like, oh, if you get it, you can whisper sync it. So I did that, and it's like 34 hours.
Oh my word!
Wow.
Actually, Hank, just so you know, it's not his first book, but Rick, he'd written 4 books before then, and Rick doesn't want them published anymore.
Really?
Because he feels that it's I interviewed him once. He's a really nice guy. He feels that he was learning how to write in public. So some of his earlier books, like there's one about a U-boat that they bring up, They Thirst, which I love. They're impossible to get because Rick doesn't want them out there.
Oh man, I had those in paperback for a long time. I don't know where they're at now, but that and The Wolf's Hour, where he's like a werewolf fighting
Nazi hunter, a werewolf
Nazi hunter. Werewolf Nazi hunter. I mean, it's just awesome.
Read his 18th century stuff. Read his the Matthew Corbett.
I did.
Wonderful.
Yeah, those are great. So that's what I'm doing.
All right, what's on your nightstand, Chris Jackson?
I'm in the tail end of a trilogy, and once again, I'm terrible with the authors' names, but it's the Cartographer series. It's actually a self-published series, and it's very, very good. His name's Cooper, I believe, but it's a low fantasy, kind of an imperialistic sorcery versus druidic magic. It's kind of grim, really sexy, and engrossing, because it's kind of patterned after colonial Britain, ruling basically the world at the time, and the protagonist, one of the protagonists, is a lower end royal, so he couldn't do anything for the crown, so he's a cartographer. They send him everywhere to make maps because he's good at it, but then he runs afoul of sorcerers. So it's actually quite good.
It's a terrible thing to run afoul of sorcerers.
Yes, well,
like the guy we don't want to get on the bad side of, right?
Exactly.
Don't get like Chuck Tingle, Chuck Tingle.
Yeah. Don't run afoul of Chuck Tingle, right?
The sorcerer. Chuck the sorcerer.
That was my takeaway.
That's what we should start calling him. We should tell him, and we've decided he's a sorcerer.
Don't tell him I said that.
No. No, we're going to tell him Hal said that.
Yeah.
Deep trouble.
Somebody bigger.
Yeah. So believe it or not, we are nearly out of time. So I'm going to ask everybody to go around and tell where we can find you, what your latest book project is, or what's coming out, or what has just come out, and where we can find you on the web. So let's start with you, Hank.
Okay. I just today finished my work in process, which has been, it was a long time. It's been a hard year. It was a long time ago, so I just emailed that man a drink. Editor. And that is called Star Spangled Showdown, and it's a contemporary gay romance set around Independence Day. So I'm hoping my editor is like, I'll jump right on it. Like, thank you. So hoping to release that in the next month time frame to tie into that holiday. I don't know why I write about holidays. It's just not a good idea because time frame. And to find me, I'm on Facebook mostly, and you can find me as Hank Edwards on Facebook. You can find me. I've got a reader author group. My author group is Hank's Hangout. So if you look for that,
Cool.
join us. We've got, we're small, but we have fun. And then my website is hankedwardsbooks.com. And I'm on Amazon and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right, Chris.
I am releasing 3, maybe 4 books this year. I had a very prolific year because I was doing nothing but sitting in my house writing. I just released the 4th book in a series, the self-published series it's a Bloodsea Tales. It's high fantasy, and the 4th book in the series is called Ashwalker. That one just came out. And I have 2 releases coming up, one from Falstaff. It's the 3rd book in my Dragons of Boston series. It's Dragon Nemesis. That'll be out for Congregate, so next month. And I have my first book with Shadow Alley Press, Pacifica, which is epic science fiction, galaxy-spanning, far future, with their new 5-fold universe. And that one's coming out on June 6th. And I happen to have previews on my website, which is jaxbooks.com, JAX Books. And you can pretty much get a taste of everything I write right there.
Most excellent. And social media?
I'm on Twitter and Facebook, Chris A. Jackson 1 on Twitter, and just look for Chris A. Jackson on Facebook. I'm there.
Okay, cool. Nancy, what about you? What's coming up?
So got a couple things going on. The
Yay.
Shell Collector just came out.
Yay.
And it is actually number 20 on the ECPA Christian Publishing best-selling list. So
And it's got a beach on the cover. How perfect.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. You can put your toes right in the sand. It's
There you
really
go.
awesome. And you can find mysterious shells with inscriptions in them. So yeah, it's very neat. So I'm really excited about that. It just came out May 11th, and the reviews are lovely. And it's a book from my heart. It's surviving, the loss of a spouse and things like that. And for people that know me, they know I lost my husband in 2014. And so a lot of the story came from a lot of the heartache that I experienced and the happiness that I'm experiencing now, and sharing that hope for others. So that was really special. Sand Dollar Cove is an old title, but it will be on the Hallmark Channel June 26th.
Wow.
Oh, yay.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it was
That's cool.
supposed to go, it was supposed to be filmed last year, but got the scoot until this year. So finally that'll be on Hallmark.
Is the male lead hot?
Of course, it's Chad Michael Murray, One Tree Hill.
Oh, baby.
Ooh,
I'm there.
we are tuning in.
Definitely. So I'm super excited about those things. And then the rest of this year, I just have the hardcover of the Shell Collector will be out September 8th in large print. And the mass market paperback of A Heartfelt Christmas Promise will be out September 28th. And then for next year, I've got 3 women's fiction releases, What Remains True, The Wedding Ranch, and then for Christmas, Jingle Sales.
Yay.
Yeah.
And where can we find you on social media?
NancyNaigle.com, and I am on Facebook, and I am on Twitter, and I am on Instagram and Pinterest, all just Nancy Naigle.
Most excellent. Hal, what about you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm old, so I don't tweet, I don't toot, I don't do any of that stuff. I have a website, halbodner.com, and I have blog posts that are ready to go. I just have to have my husband teach me how to post them because I don't know how to do that. Remember, where was it? This is my phone, right? The flip phone. Yeah. So I'm in terms of stuff coming out. This was out in March. Fabulous in Tights. Definitely a summer beach read. Light, fluffy, fun. Not politically correct, causing a huge amount of controversy because my main character is as the superhero. It's about a guy who doesn't want to be a superhero. And as the superhero, he's kind of a dick, but he's very funny about it. And there are a lot of people that can't distinguish between a character and the author, right? But it's a lot of fun, and it's getting decent reviews, contrary with decent reviews. And Other than that, oh my God, I don't even know what it is. I've got some short things coming out all over the place. Just do a search for me. You'll either find what's coming out of my arrest record, one of the two.
Okay. That should make interesting reading. And last but never least, Nicole. And also tell us, Nicole, what's coming out from the press as well as what's coming out.
Okay, so for the press, we have coming out Fantastic Fittings, which is a steampunk fantasy. We also have coming out the third and last installment in the Windchime Chronicles, which is Korean fantasy written by Todd Sullivan. I will also have in the fall copies of the third installment in the Kingdom of Avis mystery series, which is the one I write. And so if you sign up for our newsletter, you'll stay up to date. You can sign up for our newsletter at mochamemoirspress.com, and you'll stay up to date monthly on what's coming down the pipe for us. We're really excited about the titles we have this year. A lot of fantasy titles are coming out in late 2021, early 2022. As for me personally, just, I have a story in Girls of Might and Magic anthology, which is a teen young adult anthology of diversity in magic, starring diverse protagonists that are girls or young ladies or women. My story has it's a story of a non-binary character and their friend who sneak away from the city life into the woods outside their city, and they conjure magic until an ex-boyfriend discovers them. So that's what my story is about. Happy Pride Month. Also, I have just finished my horror novella called Leave a Pretty Corpse, and I will be shopping that around.
Always important.
I'll be shopping that around for a publisher.
Okay, most excellent. And social media?
Nicole G. Kurtz at Twitter and Facebook, Mocha Memoirs for Instagram, and my website is NicoleGivensKurtz.net, or you can find me at mochamemoirspress.com as well.
Most excellent. And I'm Jeanne Adams, your host, and you can find me at JeanneAdams.com. I spend way too much time on Twitter at Jeanne Adams, and you can find me always on ConTinual, the con that never ends, on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. And I want to thank all my panelists tonight. This has been super fun. I have now another long list of books to read and check out, yours and all the other things you recommended. So thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you, Jeanne.
Thanks, Jeanne.